If you're trading Luka Doncic, you can't be 3-8 on the season with Anthony Davis already missing 3 games and having minimal impact to the success of the Dallas Mavericks while Kyrie Irving is out injured, while Luka Doncic is averaging 40.
Is insane.
And is a leading candidate along with Victor Wembanyama for league MVP honors. The trade is looking even more and more disastrous right now because Cooper Flagg is going to be special.
Right.
And you know that Kyrie comes back, they'll look differently. But I said this on many occasions. It's going to come down to how Anthony Davis looks. Anthony Davis can't be ordinary. He has to be spectacular because if he's spectacular, averaging 28 and 12, if he did something like that, like he was capable of, and he was available, then Dallas would be winning more games and you wouldn't be in this situation.
You're fired. Let me say that again. You're fired. Nico Harrison has finally been fired by the Mavericks. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Nico Harrison getting fired as Mavericks fans have been outraged. Clearly, the aftermath of the Luka Doncic trade has not aged well for the Mavericks whatsoever as their franchise just keeps getting worse and worse with more time. Unfortunately for the Mavericks, it looks as if Cooper Flagg will not be able to replace Luka Doncic's impact on the Mavericks in the immediate future. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. How much blame do you give Nico Harrison for trading away Luka Doncic? I'm going to say it should be 85%. Nico Harrison was the main man responsible for getting Luka Doncic traded out of Dallas, and that was one of the worst moves that anybody could have made in not just the NBA, but in all of professional sports. That was a dumb trade at the time, and it's looking even dumber now. And I understand that Luka Doncic may have been overweight, but just because an NBA superstar is overweight, that doesn't mean go ahead and trade him for a bag of peanuts. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks had to come up with a lousy excuse and a justification as to why Luka Doncic got traded from their organization. Luka Doncic should have absolutely been untouchable. If Luka Doncic was truly that out of shape, then the Dallas Mavericks should have been able to come up with better strength and conditioning drills for Luka Doncic to come up with. I know Luka Doncic was dealing with a calf injury during that time, and maybe they were scared that calf injury was going to turn into something much worse. But when you have a superstar like Luka Doncic, you have to take every risk you can get and understand that, hey, this is a top 3 player in the NBA, so let's go ahead and actually try to build our franchise around a top 3 player, and they didn't do that whatsoever. When I think about Luka Doncic's treatment on the Dallas Mavericks, I want to make this analogy to you guys real quick. Think of this as an abusive relationship between the boyfriend and girlfriend. Luka Doncic would be the girlfriend in this case, with the Mavericks organization being the boyfriend in this case. It's like when a girl is a little overweight, but she's not really that overweight, but she looks beautiful everywhere else, and she brings a lot of nice qualities, and she's a good person in general, but the boyfriend says, you know what, I want to go ahead and ditch you and cheat on you so I can find a quote-unquote better looking girlfriend, when in reality that better looking girlfriend has a lot of baggage within her, and obviously the girlfriend has bounced back and found someone else better, like the Los Angeles Lakers. Luka Doncic ended up getting traded to a better franchise that's going to get treated better than what he was ever getting on the Dallas Mavericks. The reason why I make that analogy is because the Mavericks were mistreating Luka Doncic throughout the Luka Doncic era, yet they blamed everything on Luka Doncic, which is absolutely crazy because Luka Doncic accomplished a lot of great things for the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic was the guy who ended the playoff drought in Dallas. Luka Doncic was the guy who ended the playoff win drought in Dallas. Luka Doncic was the guy who took the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals as the 5 seed. They weren't even a top team the year they went to the NBA Finals. Luka Doncic literally carried the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals on his back, and he did it on one leg because he wasn't even 100% healthy in the NBA playoffs. He gave the Dallas Mavericks everything he had in the tank, and then he even said that he was going to be a Dallas Maverick for life if he was allowed to do so. And what did the Dallas Mavericks do? They absolutely dumped him away, and that was because of the stupidity of Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison had a large ego, and he believed that he was the architect of the Dallas Mavericks returning back to being contenders in the NBA. No, sir. Luka Doncic was the reason why the Dallas Mavericks were as good as they were, not because of Nico Harrison. And for Nico Harrison to pull off that Luka Doncic trade, it was quite frankly embarrassing at the time time, and it looks even worse now. Luka Doncic is having a phenomenal season for the LA Lakers right now, while Nico Harrison is currently building one of the worst teams in the Western Conference right now. The Dallas Mavericks are 14th in the West. The only team worse than them right now are the New Orleans Pelicans, so it's obviously not looking good for Nico Harrison whatsoever. Rightfully so. He ended up getting fired by the organization, although quite frankly, he should have been fired 9 months ago. I also want to show you guys this clip of Chris Broussard reacting to Nico Harrison getting fired by the Mavericks. Obviously, Chris Broussard ripped Nico Harrison for the stupidity that he conducted himself throughout the Luka Doncic trade and how he was willing to badmouth Luka Doncic. I agree completely with everything Chris Broussard had to say. Roll the film.
The only way to justify this trade was for them to win the championship within the next 2 years. Last year, they didn't even make the playoffs. This year, they're looking like they probably weren't going to make the playoffs. He was fortunate and lucky, really, that the ping pong balls bounced their way, and then a third way or a second way emerged for him to kind of work his way out of this trade, and that was if Cooper Flagg became, and I apologize for comparing him to white guys, but became Larry Bird or Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Amen. You spoke the absolute truth, Chris Broussard. Everything you said was absolutely true regarding Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks. And the only reason why I say 85% for Nico Harrison is because I gave the other 15% to the Mavericks owners and Adam Silver. Those guys obviously played a role in getting Luka Doncic out of Dallas. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to Nico Harrison being the dummy that he absolutely is. I normally don't say that people need to be grilled whenever they get fired to the level that they are. But in the case of Nico Harrison, it's completely justifiable. If Mavericks fans kept roasting Nico Harrison every day, you know what? I would say that's completely justifiable, because who in their right mind would absolutely trade away Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and a 2029 first round pick? What the hell is wrong with you, Nico Harrison? Were you on crack or something? Did somebody pay you under the table? Was the mafia offering you money to move away from Luka Doncic? I mean, we already know that the NBA has a gambling scandal going on, so obviously maybe Nico Harrison had some money under the table to offer that deal to Rob Pelinka, because that trade would never get accepted in a million years if the trade was actually legitimate. The fact of the matter is, Luka Doncic should have never been traded away from the Dallas Mavericks. I remember being at a bar when I saw the Luka Doncic news come out, and I was like, wait, this is real? This wasn't some fake news? And obviously it was real news. And I was like, what the hell? How could Luka Doncic get traded to the Los Angeles Lakers in the manner they did? And then I see some of the people in the media defending Nico Harrison. I'm like, how? How can you defend Nico Harrison for that kind of trade in the first place? That kind of trade is absolutely unforgivable. If I was the Mavericks owner, I would have fired Nico Harrison on the spot. I would say, you're gone, buddy. You're fired. Get out of my place. And don't ever come back to the Mavericks organization, because what you did with Luka Doncic was entirely unacceptable. And then to badmouth Luka Doncic, man, you just look like an absolute coward doing that. Nico Harrison deserves to never be employed by an NBA organization moving forward. It's really that simple to me. Clearly, the Mavericks are paying the price for the stupidity that they allowed themselves to get into. Luka Doncic just looked great as a Laker. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks have looked like one of the worst ran organizations in all of sports since the Luka Doncic trade occurred. So that is why I give Nico Harrison 85% of the blame for trading away Luka Doncic, as Nico Harrison should have already been fired on the spot when the Luka Doncic trade occurred. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinNashTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinNashTran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinNashTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.